In a game which was characterized by unrelenting defense, the Rams met the Lions in Detroit. "55,000 Turkey Day fans had plenty to cheer about when the Lions' Dick LeBeau intercepted a Roman Gabriel pass to set up the first score of the day. Mel Farr slipped through the fearsome foursome for 5 tough yards. It was 7-0 Lions as number 35, Tom Nowatzki, powered over from the 3. The Rams tied the game early in the second period. Their first sustained drive was spearheaded by 2 Gabriel to Bernie Casey aerials. Casey, number 25, has the hands and the moves, and his height gives Gabriel a perfect target to throw to. The touchdown came in a bomb from Gabriel to Jack Snow. Snow's sure hands and deceptive speed have produced many such results this season. The first big break for the Rams happened when Mel Farr suffered one of his 2 key fumbles, and number 44, Chuck Lamson, recovered on the Lions' 16. Number 34, Les Josephson, put the Rams in the lead with a bruising 12-yard sweep around right end. Josephson rushed for 74 yards on the day. This is not a kickoff. The Rams invoked the seldom-used free placement field goal rule after a fair catch of a Lion punt, with seconds remaining in the half. However, Coach Allen's clever strategy didn't pay off, as the attempt was short and almost returned for a touchdown. The half ended 14-7 Rams. The second half kickoff nearly resulted in disaster for Detroit. Lim Barney ran into a stone wall, but luckily Watkins was there to grab the loose ball for the Lions. The Ram defense made the Lions remember every yard they made, on the ground and in the air. But Detroit was moving the ball. Number 89, Gail Cogdill, took Sweetan's pinpoint pass for a first down. Number 32, linebacker Jack Pardee, spoiled the Lion drive with an interception. However, the Rams couldn't move the ball, and Detroit got it back. A mix-up in the Lion backfield was the main reason for this 18-yard loss. The Ram defense makes you pay for a mistake. Number 85, Lamar Lundy, made the big break for the Rams, intercepting a bobble pitch out to luckless Mel Farr as the third quarter ended. Gabriel took quick advantage of the break. Les Josephson beat the secondary, and the Rams were inside the 10. It was Gabriel to Truax, and a 21-7 score. Bill Plum tried to move the Lions, but was as unsuccessful as Sweetan, largely due to the heroic efforts of number 55, Maxie Vaughn. The Rams iced the game on the next play. Number 21, Eddie Metter, picked off Plum's pass and carried deep into Lion territory. The only thing near Jack Snow was the goalpost, but he'll never forgive this goalpost for spoiling a sure touchdown. Gossett's ensuing field goal put the score at 24-7. The Rams got the ball once more, and Les Josephson was the star of this drive. Gabriel found him open, and the ball was on the Detroit 5. Josephson powered over from the 2 to cap a satisfying day for him and the Rams, who remained one game behind the Colts in the Coastal Division.
On Thanksgiving night, there were plenty of fireworks in the Cotton Bowl. With less than a minute gone in the first quarter, Cardinal quarterback Jim Hart fired the first bullet to tight end Jackie Smith. The 6'4", 220-pound Smith outraces the Cowboys secondary for the Cards' first tally. In Dallas territory on their next drive, the Cardinals run into trouble. Number 52, Dave Edwards, jars the ball from the arms of Johnny Rowland. Good football teams capitalize on their opponent's mistakes. Dallas is a good football team. This 48-yard strike to Dan Reeves set up a 1-yard Don Perkins touchdown plunge to tie the score at 7-all. Stymied by the tenacious Cowboy defense, the Cards punt. Bob Hayes fielded the ball at his own 31, and from there on, only seeing is believing. Dallas 14, St. Louis 7. Jim Hart is a tough competitor. Behind perfect pass protection, young Hart hits Billy Gambrill across the middle. Hart shows the guile of a veteran as he picks up the blitz and flips to Johnny Rowland in the flat. Showing some broken field savvy of his own, Rowland jukes his way for the tying score. Trailing 17-14 after a Dallas field goal, the Cardinals were driving. This one play, more than any other, changed the entire complexion of the game. Cornell Green picked off Hart's pass and shut down a potential St. Louis scoring chance. The Cowboys struck quickly again. A flat pass to the world's fastest human, Bob Hayes, and Hayes flows by his stunned defenders to give the Cowboys a 23-14 halftime lead. Halftime strategy is discussed at the sideline. An option pass from Dan Reeves to Lance Rensel was the plan. At 30-14, the plan was more pressure. More pressure it was. Number 54, Chuck Howley, shakes up Johnny Rowland for a loss. Rowland tries to shake that loss out of his system quickly. Split ends like Bob Hayes don't come along very often. This 34-yard touchdown scored the Cowboys' 37th point. Bullet Bob Hayes deserves a breather after his 3rd touchdown. Fourth downs become more frequent for the Cardinals. Chuck Lotterette put a new wrinkle in this one, a big surprise for Dallas, and a 27-yard gain for the Cardinals. From the 36-yard line, full-time soldier and part-time quarterback Charlie Johnson throws his first touchdown pass of the year to rookie Dave Williams. Cards 21, Cowboys 37. With their backs to the wall, the Cardinals commit one more mistake. It cost them 2 points instead of 6. The rout ended with a score, Dallas 46, St. Louis 21.
The traditional way to spend Thanksgiving Day in Detroit. The Lions had not won in 6 games. The Eagles had not won in 3 months of Sundays. Most Lions and Eagles are not blessed with webbed feet. Field goals were almost impossible. Running was almost impossible. Passing was almost impossible. Water play was mandatory for both teams. But out of the muck and mire emerged a man who could move the football through the quagmire. He was covered with glop from his face mask to his cleats. But from the glint in his eye, it had to be Tom Woodeshick. 27 times Woodeshick slogged through the swamps with the slimy football. But Woodeshick was only one of 2 effective weapons in the game. The other became the 2nd leading scorer in NFL history. His name is Loren Hoskins Baker. Most people call him Sam. Somehow, Sam managed to slug a field goal out of the swamp in each quarter. Thanks to Baker and web-footed Tom Woodeshick, the Eagles are the only team in pro football this year to be undefeated and unscored upon in Thursday games. Welcome to Thanksgiving Day in Dallas, a city with a flair for the unusual and the unexpected. For Redskin quarterback Jim Ninowski, number 11, substituting for battered, sick, and tired Sonny Jurgensen, it was welcome to doomsday, for that is what Dallas likes to call its devastating defense. Number 27, safety man Mike Gector, was only a small part of Ninowski's problem. The largest part was number 75, 6 foot 6 inch, 260-pound tackle Jethro Pugh. 6 times Nino was dumped for losses. The byproducts for doomsday were 1 fumble, 1 safety, and 3 interceptions. There were other just as painful plays which do not show in these statistics. Other Redskin backs also were manhandled by the men of doomsday, continually setting up opportunities for the faltering Dallas offense. In a game blighted by over 200 yards in penalties, one of the most crucial plays came in the 2nd quarter. It was an end-zone pass interference call which led to the Cowboys' first touchdown. Moments later, Craig Morton replaced Don Meredith, and his only pass of the day resulted in the Cowboys' only long gain of the day, 41 yards to Lance Rensel. 3 Redskin defenders made sure it was a memorable experience for Rensel. Don Perkins, number 43, faked one way, then slid behind perfect blocking by number 76, John Nyland, as he cashed in the Cowboys' 2nd touchdown, bringing the Dallas lead up to a convincing 17-0. Just before halftime, Ninowski finally found some success as he hit Charlie Taylor with a 29-yard touchdown pass. In the third quarter, the next time the Redskins had the ball, Nino again threw long for Charlie Taylor, who then had to fight All-Pro cornerback Cornell Green for the ball. Unfortunately for the Redskins, instead of having the ball at midfield, a holding penalty put the ball on the Washington 4, from where Jethro Pugh caused Ninowski to score 2 points for Dallas. Dallas 19, Washington 7. But Nino was not ready to concede defeat. With second down and 48 yards to go, a bomb to number 87, Jerry Smith, was good for 56 yards and a front row seat for Smith. It would have been a good spot from which to view the next score, except that Smith had other things to do. Mel Renfro, number 20, had a hand in on the play, but Jerry Smith held on to bring the score to 19-14 at the end of 3 quarters. Don Meredith needed some insurance points, but instead of more points, he got more problems as Brig Owens intercepted and brought the ball into Dallas territory. Number 73, Ralph Neely, fought off a block and stopped Owens, but he would much rather play offense. Jim Ninowski faked a handoff and found Pat Richter wide open in the end zone. Suddenly, in the fourth quarter, the Redskins had gone ahead of Dallas by a point. A Dallas field goal made Ninowski go to the air again. At this point, the doomsday defense sealed Ninowski's doom. Again rushed by Jethro Pugh, Nino threw off balance. Larry Cole, number 63, became the man of the hour as he grabbed the fluttering football and lumbered into the end zone for the points, which assured a Dallas victory. Just 10 days before, Cole had performed a similar stunt in Washington. As Coach Tom Landry stated, "I don't know how he does it, but he seems to be in the right place each week." The Cowboys are fortunate in having the kind of depth which can replace a Willie Towns with a Larry Cole. And no one appreciates this more than Tom Landry and Willie Towns. 3 days later, it became official. The Cowboys were the champions of the Capital Division. In 3 more weeks, Tom Landry and the Cowboys will probably have to travel to the icy shores of Lake Erie, where the Cleveland Browns will be awaiting their chance for revenge. As for this man, next season is a long time to wait for his next possible chance at revenge. Of course, you never know whom he might be able to recruit in the meantime. After all, to a losing football coach, the view of the future is usually at least somewhat hazy. On Thanksgiving Day, wintertime also arrived in Detroit. For the Lions, it was do or die against the first-place Minnesota Vikings. For the largest Thanksgiving crowd in Detroit's history, happy hour was not very happy. Detroit's only substantial gain of the day was a pass from number 19, Bill Munson, to number 88, tight end Charlie Sanders. Unfortunately for the Lions, it came with only 13 seconds left in the game. Against the tough Lion defense, the Viking offense was not devastating either, but led by quarterback Joe Kapp, it was good enough to cut through the blizzard for 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. One of the Viking touchdowns came about as Kapp found safety valve receiver Oscar Reed open at the Detroit 5. Another Minnesota touchdown was the result of the determined drive of Dave Osborne, number 41. But the real story of the game was the league-leading Minnesota defense. 7 times Lion quarterback Greg Landry was dumped before he could throw. Landry has now started 7 games for the Lions. He has lost only 2. Both losses were to the Minnesota Vikings. The Viking defense supplied the biggest play of the day when Alan Page tipped a Landry pass and Jim Marshall intercepted. Page, intending to block for Marshall, wound up scoring the touchdown himself. The powerful Vikings had won their 10th straight game and had clinched the Central Division Championship just 3 weeks earlier than last year. From the opening whistle, the Dallas Cowboys found themselves going backwards under the pressure of a strong 49er push. Fast Nolan Smith returned Mike Clark's kick 60 yards to put the 49ers in striking range. Four plays later, perfect blocking cleared the way for Ken Willard, and he outran safety Mel Renfro for the score. On the next series of plays, the 49er defense punished Dallas for 3 consecutive losses and took over again. All day, San Francisco quarterback John Brody was as accurate as a laser beam, and he hit Ken Willard for the second touchdown in 5.5 minutes. The Cowboys were stunned, 14-0, and the rest of the game was catch-up. Dallas quarterback Craig Morton was troubled with 3 interceptions, but he managed to move the ball with throws to his running backs. Number 30, Dan Reeves, got 1. Then Reeves found a space window and rocketed in for the first Cowboy score. The other Cowboy running back, number 32, Walt Garrison, was the game's leading rusher. His safety valve receptions rescued Dallas in several tight situations. Finally, in the third quarter, Dallas capitalized on a recovered fumble and pulled into the lead with a 31-yard strike to flanker Bobby Hayes. But the lead vanished when Brody drove downfield and hit rookie Gene Washington in the Dallas end zone. Both teams had collected field goals, so Dallas trailed by 7 points. With 4:13 left, Craig Morton scrambled for his life and spotted flanker Lance Rensel. Rensel dove and managed to drag both feet in the end zone to tie the score. But catch-up is all San Francisco would allow. When the clock ran out, the score remained 24-all.
4 days later, it was Thanksgiving, and the AFC West leaders, the Raiders. The game began as if it were Christmas, with the Lions playing Santa, and 2 quick Raider touchdowns made it 14-0 in the first quarter. It looked like destiny had finally bagged the Lion for good. But somebody had forgotten to tell Greg Landry and his 39 other teammates. For the next 3.5 periods, the Detroit Lions slowly, methodically, and amazingly turned the game and their season right around. Landry hit Taylor for their first score, and Charlie Sanders' ragdoll touchdown catch tied the score at halftime. While the defense shut out Oakland from the first quarter on, Marvelous Mel did his thing, and Charlie Sanders did his for the second time, and Detroit took a 21-14 lead. It would be a reserve, however, who would make the key play of the game. Number 85, Chuck Hughes, turned a do-or-die 3rd and 9 into a 43-yard catch that set up Mel Farr's insurance score and gave the Lions their most important win of the season, 28-14.
In Dallas, a wind that gusted up to 40 miles an hour deflated the offensive sails of the Packers and the Cowboys and blew away the few hairs left on Ray Nitschke's head. For the Cowboys, this game meant their survival or death in the competitive NFC East. For most of the game, Packer pride pulverized the Cowboy attack and once denied Dallas 3 times inside the 2-yard line. Unfortunately for the Packers, their conservative offense could not measure up to their defense, as their quarterback Bart Starr took a fierce beating from the highly motivated Cowboys. The Cowboys collapsed Starr's protective pocket around him, and neither desire nor deception could stem the Dallas rush. For the past 2 weeks, a cool Craig Morton has turned imminent disasters into big gains for Dallas. Against Green Bay, Morton used Bob Hayes as an outlet receiver and as a long-range missile to cut through the Packers' deep defense. Dallas used 3 Mike Clark field goals and a well-disguised end-around by Hayes to storm by Green Bay 16-3 and keep in contention with the division-leading St. Louis Cardinals.
On a beautiful Thanksgiving Day in Detroit, both the second-place Lions and the second-place Kansas City Chiefs battled to keep from falling too dangerously far behind in the race for the postseason playoffs. Hank Stram's bag of offensive tricks led to 3 touchdown bursts by Ed Podolak, number 14. Despite Podolak's 3 touchdowns, too often the Chiefs seemed destined to play the Thanksgiving Day role of wooden Indian. In the early part of the game, Detroit quarterback Greg Landry, the NFC's leading passer, also had his problems as he tried to solve the Chiefs' rugged defense. As usual, the Chiefs' front 4 was busting in hard. And as usual, the Kansas City defensive backs and linebackers were doing their part in sealing off the alleys. But after the initial frustrations were finished with, Greg Landry began to look for his all-pro tight end, Charlie Sanders, number 88. Landry found that Sanders can also catch the ball when it is only slightly overthrown. Landry also knows that Sanders saves his very best catches for the end zone, and it doesn't matter how tightly he's covered. With the help of his acrobatic friends, Greg Landry added to his conference-leading statistics with 15 completions in 22 tries and a second touchdown to Earl McCullough. The crowning blow was struck by the league-leading kickoff returner, Ron Jesse, number 89, when he blocked a Gerald Wilson punt, resulting in a 2-point safety for the Lions. The humiliated Chiefs remained 1/2 game behind Oakland in the AFC West, while victorious Detroit was still 1.5 behind Minnesota in the NFC Central. '62 was the last year Dallas beat the Rams. That alone would be reason enough to stoke cowboy fires, but this game meant more, as a loss for either team would still their path to a title. The fury and pace of this game was established on the opening kickoff, which rookie Isaac Thomas ran back 89 yards for a Cowboy touchdown. That the Rams refused to wilt after Thomas' stunning run proved that they were of championship caliber. Though buffeted by double coverage, number 13, Lance Rensel, made an incredible catch to set up a score that tied the game at 7. Then a Rams gamble bore sweet fruit when they recovered an onside kick. Roman Gabriel, number 18, began to pinpoint his receivers over the flailing arms of Dallas linebackers. With it 3rd and 2 on the Cowboy 33, Gabriel disguised his intentions and found tight end Bob Klein running free and easy for the go-ahead touchdown. Trailing 14-7, the Doomsday defense began to howl. Number 74, All-Pro tackle Bob Lilly monster-mashed setback Willie Ellison. Buoyed by his defense, quarterback Roger Staubach revved up his tender arm and rainbowed a touchdown to Bob Hayes that tied the score at halftime. Linebacker Isaiah Robertson, number 58, warned Jim Purnell of impending Dallas strategy, but the rookie's words seemed to fall on deaf ears. Instead, it was the Cowboy defense that asserted itself when number 41, Charlie Waters, deflected a Gabriel pass to linebacker Chuck Howley, number 54. Off play action, Staubach pinpointed Lance Allworth on a crossing pattern for a score. It was Allworth's first touchdown as a Cowboy and made the score 21-14 in favor of Dallas. Gabriel then displayed his rapport with receiver Jack Snow by throwing well before Snow turned to meet the ball in simultaneous rendezvous. Roman fooled the Cowboys a second time with play action and hit Pat Curran for a touchdown that tied the game at 21. Staubach generaled a fourth quarter drive that won the day for Dallas. From a scramble, he selected unguarded Walt Garrison, who powered down deep into Rams territory. Led by his tight end, Billy Truax, number 87, Dwayne Thomas shucked off Gene Howard, number 21, his last pursuer, and scored. For Dallas, it was a perfect end to Turkey Day as their 28-21 victory kept them atop the NFC's Eastern Division. In Detroit, fans like their heroes larger than life. Man-eaters who can devour an opponent whole. They can be downright unkind to those who don't measure up. But last week, Joe Namath wasn't worrying about his image in Detroit. He was only concerned with cracking the tough Lion defense in a bid to capture a wild card berth for the playoffs. He chose a bristling running attack led off by number 44, John Riggins. Emerson Boozer was out with an injury, but Riggins was complemented nicely by number 42, Clifford McLean. Riggins and McLean both churned out over 100 yards. But this is the year of the runner. and 100-yard rushers can be found growing on trees. Number 42, Altie Taylor, made it 3 in this game alone. All this running around left the score 7-3 Jets before number 11, Greg Landry, opened up the air lane. Number 49, Larry Walton, danced in, and suddenly Landry liked the pass very much indeed, especially with a recuperated Charlie Sanders on the receiving end. Number 88's patented flying flip for the end zone set up Landry's 1-yard touchdown sneak to put the Lions on top. But then Namath revved up his air arm and brought the Jets roaring back. Namath used his all-purpose running backs to set up 2 Bobby Howfield field goals. Then he upped his 1972 touchdown pass total to 20 with a perfect placement to number 88, Rich Castor. Castor's touchdown left the Landry-Namath shootout tied at 20. But when everything else is equal, Landry has an added dimension to call on. Greg Landry's legs left it up to Namath's arm with time running out. But this time, New York's comeback attempt fizzled as number 59, Charlie Weaver, pulled off the game breaker. Was Charlie pleased by his performance? Just watch. Weaver's act was hard to follow, but smooth Altie Taylor came up with the perfect topper. Taylor's run gave him 124 yards for the day and closed out a robust 37-20 Lion triumph, as Detroit eased into a tie with Green Bay for first place in the NFC Central and eased New York out of contention for a wild card playoff berth. "40 strong, the San Francisco Red Wave rolled into Texas Stadium needing a victory to stay atop the NFC's Western Division. But the Cowboys were ready to feast on this 49er team they had beaten so many times in the past. The challenge for the Doomsday defense was Steve Spurrier, and they poured in on the young 49er passer. Spurred by his defense, quarterback Craig Morton fired bullets that creased the seams in the San Francisco secondary. The multi-splendored Dallas attack rolled one way and often caught the 49ers' flow moving in the wrong direction. The yards came tougher on the ground, but Dallas had Walt Garrison, the toughest cowboy of them all. Tucked behind his pulling guard, Blaine Nye, number 61, Garrison battered to a touchdown and a 7-0 Cowboy lead. Dick Nolan was properly concerned, but today he would see a defense he had molded in the image of the Cowboys turn defeat into victory. Balancing the experience of 35-year-old tackle Charlie Kruger was the ferocious rush of 23-year-old Cedric Hardman, number 86. Morton was decked repeatedly, and when number 64, Dave Wilcox, blindsided him, he fumbled on one bounce to number 52, Skip Vanderbunt, who raced to the tying touchdown. After a harrowing first quarter, Steve Spurrier settled down and drifted confidently behind matchless protection until his receivers spun clear of the secondary's web. In the second quarter, Spurrier spotted Gene Washington, number 18, running free to the post. Charlie Waters was called for interference, and one play later, Ken Willard scored, and San Francisco led 14-7. Spurrier received a break when Washington and Ted Kwolek, number 82, ended up side by side on a busted pattern. Instead of an interception, Washington turned the play into a spectacular gain. When number 22, Vic Washington, picked off Chuck Howley's blitz, Spurrier calmly passed to Kwolek for another score. Another look at the play shows that Howley was joined by linebacker Leroy Jordan in a blitz. Jordan, number 55, was bounced by Woody Peoples, and Spurrier's pass was perfect to his tight end. The 31-10 rout of Dallas was fittingly climaxed by the defense as Skip Vanderbunt stepped in front of a Morton pass and strolled to his second touchdown. For Vanderbunt, his great day was richened by the knowledge that after 11 weeks, the 49ers had claimed sole possession of first place in the West.
The Detroit Lions have much to be thankful for. They have 3 capable quarterbacks, strong running backs, and an experienced offensive line. And yet this season, they have not put it all together offensively. Their strength, in a sense, has become their weakness. Well, they needed a domineering offense to compensate for an inexperienced defense. And on Thanksgiving Day, when they faced the supercharged Washington Redskins, the story of the Lions season was once again graphically replayed. With number 19, Billy Munson, having replaced Greg Landry at quarterback, the Lion offense continued to sputter inconsistently, while their supposedly weak defense played surprisingly well. But since the arrival of George Allen in Washington, the Redskins' style has been aggressive consistency, and using number 31 Charlie Haraway, who chopped away for 107 yards and 18 carries this afternoon, Washington began to advance on the Detroit goal the first time they touched the ball. Completing the 74-yard drive in 13 plays, Billy Kilmer flared to Haraway, who stepped unimpeded into pay dirt for a 7-0 advantage. And then the Redskins showed the depth of their aggressive consistency when Kenny Stone blocked this punt by Herman Thunderfoot Weaver. And like a great full-court pressing round ball squad, Washington applied the pressure. Billy Kilmer then put the squeeze on the Lions' right defensive corner man. First hitting Charlie Taylor on a little shake and go, and then sending Taylor up the sideline behind the Lions' rookie cornerback, number 23, Levi Johnson. Then running Taylor on a square out, and hitting Roy Jefferson slanting over the middle, Washington advanced the ball deep into Detroit territory. At last, completing the offensive pattern, Kilmer found Taylor in front of Levi Johnson for a touchdown, and the Redskins built a 20-0 advantage. Charlie Taylor celebrated the catch and the score in Charlie Taylor's fashion, and the Redskin defense made it meaningful by shutting off the Lion attack. 89, old pro Dave Robinson collected this deflection, and Washington killed Detroit with consistency, using offense, defense, and special teams to crush the Lions 20-0. For the Dallas Cowboys, everything was at stake. Their survival as a contender in the NFC East hinged on a victory against the world champions from Miami. On defense, Doomsday strung Mercury Morris out on a clothesline and then hung him on it to dry. It was a brutal display of give and take, and Miami's no-name defense more than matched Doomsday's thunder. Down deep, the yards came grudging, and twice Dallas rose up and bent Dolphin surges back inside the 10. When Dallas maneuvered into scoring position, they too were throttled. Receivers that seemed so wide open and fancy-free were shut down and speared. Miami grabbed the first big break when a Roger Staubach pass was deflected into the hands of Jake Scott. Scott's return set up a Larry Zonka plunge, and the Dolphins led Dallas 7-0. Quarterback Bob Greasy led Miami to their second score with some nifty footwork of his own. Being a Sage veteran, Greasy knew exactly when to call it quits. He also knew it was time to call on Paul Warfield, who slipped past Mel Renfro and glided in for 6. The Dallas offense was dead until wide receiver Drew Pearson scooped up teammate Walt Garrison's fumble like a shortstop. But Pearson's effort fell short when Dallas missed a field goal, and later when Staubach set up an impeccable pump-and-go bomb to Bob Hayes, he misfired by 5 long yards. The highest scoring team in the pros managed but 1 touchdown, and vengeance was Miami's 14-7.
After losing 4 straight games by a total of 14 points at the beginning of the season, the spirited Detroit Lions under new head coach Rick Forzano have turned their season around, winning 6 of their last 7 games, and now facing the revitalized Denver Broncos. The Lions hope to nurse their faint playoff hopes by continuing their winning ways. Mistakes like this Charlie Johnson faux pas intercepted by Levi Johnson were pretty much the story of Denver's disappointments early this season. But the Lions could not dent an improved Denver D to cash in this opportunity. Both teams struggled in a standoff until Steve Owens broke open on the longest run of his career, good for 27 yards. And ironically, Owens was injured and lost for the rest of the season on the play. Adding insult to injury, the Broncos forced the Lions to settle for a field goal from the 1. And midway through the second quarter, Otis Armstrong ran through a trap at right guard, cut left, and erased 32 yards, setting up a 1-yard touchdown plunge by John Keyworth, making the totals Denver 10, Detroit 3. But Greg Landry, replacing the injured Bill Munson, came right back, finding Alty Taylor wide open with this 23-yard touchdown pass, knotting the score at 10. In slow motion now, on the very next series, Charlie Johnson swung a pass to Otis Armstrong, who handled it more like a volleyball, batting it to Levi Johnson. And look out, mistakes again, making the score Detroit 17, Denver 10 at the half. the Broncos opened the second half with a perfectly executed onside kick. And riding the momentum of this aggressive play, they swept to 3 touchdowns in the third quarter. Otis Armstrong, whose 144 yards and 24 carries gave him a total of 1,082 for the season, set up the first with this 31-yard jaunt. John Keyworth took it the last hard yard. But midway through the period, Armstrong himself slipped over right in to make the score Denver 24, Detroit 20. And Charlie Johnson capped a 50-yard drive in 5 plays with this pass to Riley Odoms, increasing Denver's total to 31, and that was enough as the Broncos held on to dump the Detroit Lions for only the second time in the last 8 games, 31-27. On the Cowboys' first series, it was obvious that all the stops were going to be pulled as punter Dwayne Carroll passed to a wide-open Benny Barnes for a 37-yard gain. Washington's defense held, and the Cowboys had to settle for a field goal, their only points of the first half, as the Redskins' conference-leading defense did not again allow the Cowboys' conference-leading offense to cross the 50 until midway in the third quarter. Thanks mostly to their defense, the Redskins led 9-3 in the third quarter, when Billy Kilmer padded the lead with a pass to a former Dallas Cowboy named Dwayne Thomas. Several end-zone bystanders alleged that they saw Dwayne Thomas smile, which has become almost a weekly occurrence of late. Perhaps the turning point, if there had to be one, occurred midway in the third quarter, when Roger Staubach did what the Redskins wanted him to do. Number 89, Dave Robinson, applied the finishing touch to Staubach's afternoon. And number 19, Clint Longley, took over, a rookie from Abilene Christian with no previous professional experience. 3 passes later, Billy Joe Dupree scored the Cowboys' first touchdown, and suddenly Dallas was back in the game at 16-10. On the next series, the unorthodox Longley hit 3 more passes, one to rookie runner Charlie Young, number 30. By this time, the name Clint Longley was beginning to sound like the name of a true-to-life Western hero. And when another true-to-life Western hero, Walt Garrison, scored, the Cowboys led 17-16. But there was one more very large period still to play. In the fourth quarter, Billy Kilmer again scrambled some life into the Redskin offense. Roy Jefferson's catch got the Redskins close, and then once again, Mr. Irony, Dwayne Thomas, put it to his former teammates. Leading 23-17, all the conference-leading Washington defense had to do was put enough pressure on the untested rookie quarterback, Clint Longley. Somehow, Longley retained his cool, but not all of his teammates did. One drive was aborted when Pat Fisher forced a fumble from league-leading receiver Drew Pearson, number 88. It appeared to be a Washington victory, 23-17, when with no timeouts, the Cowboys' last drive could only move 10 yards in 6 plays. And then there were less than 40 seconds left, 2nd and 10 from the 50. The season's most shocking play deserves another look, this time from the viewpoint of the defensive backfield. Dallas won 24-23, and Drew Pearson, the man who had been the GOAT just 2 minutes before, was now the hero, or at least one of the heroes, along with Clint Longley. As for Clint Longley, even if he never completes another pass, they'll always remember the one he threw on Thanksgiving Day, 1974, the day the computerized Cowboys showed how humanly heroic they can be. James Harris, number 12, can do most of the things a quarterback is supposed to do, and he's done them well enough to enable the Los Angeles Rams to grab a spot in the playoffs. However, with the Rams' wealth of experienced talent and given their easy schedule, George Plimpton could have just as easily quarterbacked them to the division title. Harris is an accurate long-distance thrower, but his play calling is very predictable. Fortunately, the Rams have so many elusive receivers that Harris could announce his plays on the public address system and they would still work. Unlike the teams we've just seen, the problems for Lou Saban's Buffalo Bills lie not with their league-leading offense, but with their bottom-ranked pass defense. And on Thanksgiving Day, Jim Hart and his big play St. Louis Cardinals were supposed to make merry at their expense. Sure enough, number 21, Mr. Wonderful, Terry Metcalf, set up the game's first touchdown and ran his season's total offense over 2,100 yards, on his way to the all-time record. But then, suddenly, the cardiac Cardinals seemed themselves to be stricken as the NFC's leading offense turned the ball over no less than 7 times. The Cardinals' 6-game winning streak ended, not because their defense couldn't stop league-leading quarterback Joe Ferguson, and not because they couldn't stop league-leading rusher O.J. Simpson, but because they couldn't stop 240-pound fullback Jim Braxton, who had his best day ever with 160 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an easy victory over surprisingly flat St. Louis.
In view of the previous Thursday's events in Irving, Texas, where a Turkey Day crowd of 62,000 plus watched the Cowboys feast on another brand of bird. Dallas devoured the Cardinal attack, dominating all phases of play, especially the punting game. The Cowboys splintered the Cardinals' protective wall, blocked this punt, and notched 2 points. Special team superstar Thomas Henderson, number 56, breathes fire into Dallas's specialty units. A Super Bowl contender like the Cowboys depends upon inspired special team play to keep their winning edge. Last Sunday, the Cowboys turned in 2 crucial plays in punting situations. Danny White's 4th down pass to Benny Barnes came with but a minute to play in the first half. 4 plays later, Roger Staubach made it hurt. Dallas's 2 4th down successes proved to be the pivotal plays in the contest. They accounted for 9 of the 12 points that Dallas led by late in period 4, before the cardiac Cardinals turned on their pacemakers. But for the second week in succession, St. Louis's last-minute heroics did not a victory bring. The game ended with St. Louis on the Cowboy 8-yard line. 8 yards that may cost the Cardinals a playoff berth. There were no playoff berths at stake in Detroit. It was merely another episode in the Lions' history of memorable Thanksgiving Day games. But even old veteran Lions could not remember anything like this. But the league's leading passer regained his footing, and Greg Landry proceeded to dismantle the Buffalo secondary with 2 touchdown passes, both of which went to rookie tight end David Hill. David Hill, Detroit's king of swing, creator of a newfangled end zone thing. Detroit scored 27 points, then turned matters over to their league-leading defenders, who planned to dine on an assortment of beef, fowl, and superstar running backs. But the Lions found the beverage a little tough to digest. By the time he had finished, O.J. Simpson had accomplished the following things. He had rushed for more than 200 yards in a single game for the 5th time in his career, a new NFL record. He eclipsed the 1,000-yard rushing mark for the 5th consecutive season, while taking over the AFC rushing lead. And he broke his own NFL record for most yards rushing in a single game. Simpson finished with 273 yards. Lost in the glitter of Simpson's record-breaking performance was Detroit's 6th victory. But the hour certainly belonged to Simpson, possibly the best ever to run with a football.
The Silverdome, Detroit and Chicago slugged it out, the winner to stay within a game of Minnesota. With so much at stake, bodies were flying. Throughout the first half, the Lions chewed up Walter Payton, who could spit out just 20 yards as Detroit clung to a 7-0 halftime lead on a 16-yard pass from Greg Landry to David Hill. Hill has replaced Charlie Sanders, the Lions' all-time reception leader, who has been in and out of the lineup with injuries but probably doesn't choreograph the boogie as well as Hill anyway. The second half saw a total reversal of roles. Payton ran 43 yards on the second play of the half and displayed a new talent to go with his 2,000-yard pace rushing statistics. Payton's 75-yard touchdown reception was part of a 17-point third quarter for the Bears that blew the game open, and his 8-yard touchdown run gave him 137 for the day. 1,541 for the year, and finished the scoring in a 31-14 Chicago victory. Chicago guards Noah Jackson and Reeve Sori don't boogie as well as David Hill either, but their Ginger and Fred routine was much more satisfying than Hill's, for theirs was a victory dance. On Thanksgiving Day in St. Louis, Miami quarterback Bob Griese did for eyeglasses what Clark Gable did for ears. He made them quite fashionable. Peering through windshields, all Mr. Griese did was throw 6 touchdown passes and leading his team to a 55-14 romp over the Cardinals, who were busy giving up the most points in their 58-year NFL history. On the feast day, bespectacled Bob was 15 for 23 for 207 yards. 3 of the touchdowns went to wide receiver Nat Moore, number 89, as Griese set a team record and came within 1 of the NFL's single-game record for scoring passes. The long toss of the day was a 37-yard strike to tight end Andre Tillman. To give the Cardinals their due, their secondary has been riddled by injury, but it would have taken a concentrated flak barrage to stop Griese, as he made Thanksgiving truly thankful for the 26 teams that weren't playing the Dolphins. Now with their record at 8-3, Miami is focusing in more sharply on the playoffs. And every kid quarterback in America is saying, "But Mom, just because I have perfect vision doesn't mean I can't at least try glasses, does it?" Thanksgiving Day in Detroit, an NFL tradition. Even though the Lions aren't a contender, it's still a festive occasion. Lion fans used to drink to the exploits of such legendary greats as Joe Schmidt, Roger Brown, and Dick Night Train Lane. But these days, Detroit's reigning hero is rookie defensive end Al Bubba Baker, the main man in a swarming defensive line known as the Silver Rush. They lead the entire NFL in quarterback sacks. And though they're still somewhat anonymous, against the Denver Broncos, their methods were brutally effective. On Turkey Day, they buried Denver's Craig Morton 6 times and even made his head hurt. Meanwhile, the Lion attack pushed aside the Orange Crush defense for 2 short touchdowns. And after 59 minutes, 56 seconds, surprisingly, they clung to a 3-point lead. But the Broncos still had 1 roll of the dice remaining. The Broncos' Jim Turner, however, could not roll a 3. Thus did the young and coming Lions add another chapter to their Turkey Day anthology. Granted, this win will not be confused with Detroit's legendary Thanksgiving triumphs, but it just may signal the beginning of a new period in Lion football. Monty Clark's patient rebuilding program is turning things around in the Motor City, and the star of the show is only a rookie. Like a cougar stalking the shadows and waiting for the precise instant to strike, Tom Landry's Dallas Cowboys resumed their late-season onslaught on Thanksgiving Day. At stake stood sole possession of first place in the NFC East. And with such a foe as the arch-rival Redskins, Dallas clearly separated the contenders from the pretenders. Doomsday showed why there is no better in the NFL against the rush, and continually took advantage of one of the league's worst pass protection units. While the Dallas defense used physical domination to get their point across, the Cowboy offense employed a blend of depth and execution. With number 35 Scott Laidlaw filling in for injured fullback Robert Newhouse, Dallas offense never missed a beat. However, his 122 yards and 2 touchdowns were but a small part of an offense that revolved around the hot hand of Roger Staubach. Staubach wore out the Redskins secondary with passes to Drew Pearson, who easily exceeded the 100-yard mark and helped the Cowboys maintain the distinction of being the NFL's #1 passing club. A contest billed as a drama unfolded into a comedy by halftime and an embarrassment by game's end. After losing an earlier matchup with Washington, revenge belonged to Dallas. As one might expect, Washington, though thoroughly beaten, fought back to score their only touchdown as Joe Theismann passed to Gene Fugit. This effort proved to be purely academic in a 37-10 Cowboy lecture, and came when most of the Cowboy regulars had already kicked off their shoes, propped their feet up, and settled in for a short winter's nap, dreaming about this week's more worthy opponent, the New England Patriots. Buccaneers must wait to clinch against their only competition, the Chicago Bears. Tampa hopes that there are some leftovers available from the Detroit Lions' Thanksgiving Day feast against the Bears. Thoroughly dominating the line of scrimmage, Detroit held Walter Payton to 54 yards, the third consecutive week that Chicago's thoroughbred failed to crack the century mark. The Lions' defense caused 3 Bear turnovers, this one initiated by number 51 James Harrell, blitzing from his outside linebacker position. Dave Purifoy, number 75, was the beneficiary of Harrell's effort, rambling 37 yards to set up a Detroit field goal. The Lions' offense was paced by rookie quarterback Jeff Comlo. Despite throwing 3 interceptions, Comlo showed increasing maturity, culminating a textbook drive with a 22-yard touchdown pass to number 39 Leonard Thompson near the end of the first half. It all added up to a 20-0 Lion whitewash, only their second victory in a season of disappointments. On Thanksgiving Day, media experts predicted the Houston Oilers were due to swoon in the presence of the Dallas Cowboys, for it was unthinkable for America's team to drop 3 straight games. Sure enough, on their first 2 possessions, the Cowboys' explosive attack, led by Roger Staubach, threatened to blow the roof off Texas Stadium. One series after Staubach hit Drew Pearson for the deep 6, he passed to Robert Newhouse on a screen that produced another Cowboy touchdown and some good downfield blocking. But the Oilers have an offense of their own, and his name is Earl Campbell. Dallas's once powerful doomsday defense stopped Campbell on this play, but it was only an isolated moment. Earl the Pearl had quite a Thanksgiving feast, gaining 196 yards and scoring 2 touchdowns. The game was decided late in the fourth quarter when Dallas was caught with 12 men on the field during an Oiler punt. It gave Houston a new life. And on the next play, Dan Pastorini won this wild and woolly battle of Texas with a touchdown pass to 00 Ken Burrow. The exciting win gave Houston a lofty 10-3 record and a tie with Pittsburgh for first place in the AFC Central. Though Bum Phillips's gentlemanly tip of the 10 gallons seemed a bit restrained for such an important victory, old Bum really broke loose in the privacy of the locker room, celebrating Houston's first regular season win ever over Dallas with a kiss from his quarterback. On Thanksgiving Day in Detroit, the Lions anticipated a hearty feast, compliments of the last-place Chicago Bears. Billy Sims, number 20, wasted no time supplying the first course as he turned a simple screen pass into a gourmet meal. The 47-yard score helped give the Lions a 17-3 third-quarter lead, at which point, having overeaten, they took refuge on the living room couch. This gave the Bears a chance to serve up some favorite dishes of their own, like Walter Payton, number 34. Payton's efforts initiated a dramatic fourth-quarter comeback that climaxed with Vince Evans' touchdown with no time left on the clock. Evans' run tied the score at 17 and sent the game into overtime. Detroit lost the coin toss and kicked off to start the overtime period. Within a matter of seconds, the unsuspecting Lions. The defeat weakened Detroit's already shaky hold on first place in the NFC Central Division, while the Bears, realistically out of the playoff picture, simply enjoyed their Thanksgiving Day devouring of the Lions. While Atlanta is proving that youth is its own reward, other young teams have not been cashing in. On Thanksgiving Day, Seattle's Jim Zorn prepared for Dallas with an impromptu game of kick the can, while Dallas came prepared to kick Zorn's can. And the Cowboys' methods were hardly child's play. With number 54 Randy White leading the way, Dallas registered 6 sacks. Zorn and the Seahawks kitty corps found that the incessant onslaught of White and Harvey Martin, number 79, has a way of making one feel old before his time. Thanks to their defense, the Cowboys enjoyed beneficial field position all day long. After Danny White had thrown for 2 touchdowns and Cowboys' backs ran for 4 more, Dallas let its own youth movement be served. Fledgling quarterback Glenn Carano's lone pass was good for a score to veteran tight end Billy Joe Dupree, number 89. Dupree caught a pair of touchdowns in the 51-7 win that moved the Cowboys another step closer to the playoffs. Pro football is a young man's game, and the Seahawks used to be pretty good at playing it. But at Dallas, they learned that a young man's game is usually won when youth and experience work hand in hand. On Thanksgiving Day, when Detroit improved its record to 7-6 with a win over Kansas City, Eric Hipple threw a pair of touchdown passes. Hipple helped counter the AFC's top-ranked rushing defense, led by determined defenders like Cal Peterson, number 50. The Chiefs' rushing offense is the NFL's best, but this didn't faze block-breaking Bubba Baker, number 60. Kansas City's horses were also kept from breaking out of the gate by Dave Purifoy, number 75. On a day when few tackles were broken, number 20 Billy Sims devised the best solution. He took a tackler right along with him into the end zone. With their 27-10 victory, the Lions were naturally counting on the Vikings to fall and thus produce a neat little two-way tie for first. Dallas backup quarterback Glenn Carano had nothing in his pro past that sparked fond remembrances. But after last week's effort against the Bears, Carano can begin the scrapbook. Replacing an injured Danny White, Carano responded late in the game, setting up Dallas's only touchdown with his passing. When number 20 Ron Springs scored with less than 6 minutes remaining, the Cowboys managed to beat Chicago 10-9. On a day when Dallas's offense was lacking, the Cowboys still prevailed. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Dallas Cowboys are up for sale for the tidy sum of $60 million. So why not be the first on your block to own a perennial Super Bowl contender? On Thanksgiving Day, however, Cowboys stock dipped for a moment when St. Louis's Roy Green hauled in a Neil Lomax bomb to get the visitors on the board first. The Cardinals opened the scoring and ended the scoring when O.J. Anderson latched on to Lomax's second touchdown pass of the day. St. Louis's Turkey Day show had a stellar start and a solid finish, but what happened in between had Cowboy stock and Butch Johnson, number 86, soaring.
Dallas controlled the line of scrimmage and thus the game as Howard Richards, number 70, pulled and provided escort duty for the surging Tony Dorsett. Dorsett rushed for a pair of touchdowns, won a 55-yard sweep where he got the corner and outraced everyone to spark a 35-17 Cowboy win. Dallas's 11th win of the season tied them with Washington for the NFL's best record and gave them a leg up in securing home field advantage in the playoffs. In the other Thanksgiving Day contest, one poor Steeler fan had both legs up as he got some help in entering the Silverdome. It was Detroit who feasted and Pittsburgh who had the stuffing knocked out of them. Ulysses Norris, number 80, caught 2 Eric Hipple touchdown strikes, and the usually non-blitzing Lions sent everyone but the trainer to harass and sack Cliff Stout for the full 60 minutes. Detroit handed Pittsburgh their second straight loss of the season as Robbie Martin's punt return iced a 45-3 laugher for the Lions. Pittsburgh's defeat was their worst in years, and Detroit's win tightened things up considerably in the NFC Central. Green Bay coach Forrest Gregg sported a grim pregame facade as he sent his troops into Detroit for an intra-division battle Thanksgiving Day. On the Packers' third play from scrimmage, number 31, fullback Gary Ellis encountered scant resistance on a tackle-free 40-yard romp around left end. On Green Bay's next offensive series, quarterback Lynn Dickey found tight end Paul Kaufman running free and clear in the middle and hit him in stride with a 44-yard scoring strike. Just when it appeared the Lions would be blown out of the Silverdome, Detroit coach Monty Clark dished out a verbal holiday feast to his team, replete with all the trimmings. It appeared to inspire the silver and blue to greater heights. This clutch catch by Mark Nichols was one of 4 totaling 108 yards for the receiver. But Nichols' most spectacular reception was also the play of the game. With 13 seconds left in the first half, Clark sent third-string quarterback Mike Machurik into the game for one play. A Hail Mary pass thrown into a flood right formation. Nichols somehow came down with the ball, and the catch led to a field goal that eventually proved to be the margin of victory. The Lions were sparked by Gary Danielson's 305 yards and 3 touchdowns. 2 of them caught by tight end David Lewis, number 87, as Detroit dominated the rest of this nationally televised game, controlling the football for a whopping 45 minutes. In the end, the previously unlucky, unheralded, and for the most part unappreciated Detroit Lions delivered a nearly fatal punch to the Packers' fast-fading playoff hopes. The New England Patriots also have their sights set on postseason play. However, against Dallas, the keen vision quarterback Tony Eason has used to pump life into the Patriots' offense suddenly turned fatal. While Michael Downs' touchdown interception didn't give Eason much to be thankful for in this Turkey Day contest, the Cowboys' Danny White was counting his blessings, having obtained the starting quarterback spot. White's touchdown pass to Tony Hill helped boost Dallas to a 20-17 win. The Cowboys' 8-5 record gives them a share of first place